Hello YouTube, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I'm going to try and keep this one as short as possible, but I have a motor mouth, so we'll see how it goes. So I know I've been like MIA for a really long time, but just know that I'm taking care of my mental health right now. I think it's really important to take a break, to take time off, especially if you're not feeling 100%. And for me, in terms of like my health and everything, I started to drastically lose weight, and with that I lost a lot of confidence, I'll be honest, because I think when I began transitioning and I started using hormones, one of the first things I noticed was fat redistribution. So all of a sudden, I had like curves, I had thighs, I had the body that I'd always wanted. You know what I mean? I'd had the body that I'd always wanted. And I just remember that first year after I'd had surgery, I was on this like transition high. Like, no one could tell me anything. I felt like I was the most gorgeous person on the planet. I felt that in my own right, I was so beautiful. And I didn't realize how much I relied on my body or the shape of my body. It wasn't until, unfortunately, I was assaulted, and not even before the assault, I think I was going through so much depression that I couldn't eat. And I'm the type of person, if I'm upset, I don't eat. So if I'm depressed for 5 days, I'm not eating for 5 days. So, needless to say, I was skipping a couple of days, and when I finally got, a handle of my emotions, I'd already lost like so much weight. And for the first time in a long time, I did not want to be seen because of how thin I was. I felt that there was something that had been taken away from me. I felt that I had the body of a 12-year-old little boy. And it was just hard to sort of stomach that. But, I've been working on myself, and I realized that you have to celebrate yourself wherever you are in transition. We cannot place conditions of loving ourselves based on where we are in transition. You can't say, oh, I'll love myself once my name change is approved. I'll love myself once I'm on hormones. I'll love myself after facial feminization surgery. Right now, in this moment, is your moment to love and appreciate yourself wherever you are in transition. So I just decided that, you know what? If some people can love their curves, I can love my bones. And there is nothing wrong with that. Oh my gosh, that was the longest intro that I've ever made. And I thought this would be a short video. Anyways, that's besides the point. So I just wanted to talk about catcalling. So, what is catcalling? Essentially, catcalling is when a group of men see a woman in public and they take it upon themselves to harass her. Normally it's just verbal harassment. They'll make remarks about her body, about wanting to do things to her, and I've never liked this. I remember back in 2014, I was like watching this other trans girl, and her name was Beatrice. Loved Beatrice. Anyways, so she had a video called Why I Love Catcalling. And I just remember not understanding Because for me, okay, so before I give you my point of view, I think it's important to establish what her point of view was. She talked about receiving attention and admiration from men publicly. And as a transgender woman, we often don't receive that. We often receive ridicule. And I can certainly imagine that if you spent a year not passing, and the only thing that men were doing was telling you that you're this disgusting man, eventually, once you do start passing, you would be in some form of appreciation. When men are calling you beautiful and sexy and smacking their lips and doing all of that. For me, and this is just my opinion, I see no difference between you making fun of me and you smacking your lips. And like, it's all the same for me. Because what I've learned in my transition is that catcalling is dangerous for trans women. There have been so many times where I've been walking out and there are these construction workers, and I would walk on the opposite side of the road. I would take a different road. I would do everything that I could to avoid them because I understood the real danger of bodily harm. And when I say there is a real danger, what you need to understand is if you pass, even if you only pass 50% of the time, but if you pass in some way and there is a group of men, like 8 or 10 of them, catcalling you, and one of them sees that you are in fact transgender, I've seen this happen with me. It can turn around faster than you can even think. So whenever I'm in these situations, I'm always looking for a way to escape. Like, if there's only one way to get, like, if I'm going to the grocery store, and the only way I can get to the grocery store is by passing these DL men, I guess I'm not going to the grocery store that day. I guess I'm not going to the grocery store because I'm not going to put myself in a situation. Did I just call them DL? Sorry. Anyone who's bad, I call DL. But anyways, I am not going to put myself in a situation where it could potentially change and become violent. One of my earliest experiences with catcalling happened probably in the year 2015, 2014, like years ago. So I went to this club. It is the coolest place ever. It's this club in Cape Town, and it's actually in the township, and a lot of tourists go there because they want to have sort of an authentic African experience. And it's super cheap and the music is amazing. Anyways, so I go there. It was my friend's farewell. She was going to England, and sort of everyone was there. All of her friends were there, and we were all having a good time. It's actually sad how the night ended because I was having so much fun. Anyways, so I'm like dancing, I'm having a good time, I'm enjoying myself, and there's this tourist there. So let me describe him. He was probably 6'1", Arab, obviously black hair. He had this little baby face. That's what I remember about him. Anyways, so he was with his friends, and as I'm dancing, they start saying things and trying to get my attention. And I suppose me being drunk, I turn around and I go to them. So I want you to think about this for a moment. I'm being catcalled in one of the weirdest and most inappropriate places to be catcalled, and my, at the time, drunk ass thinks it's a good idea to go up to these men. So, the Arab guy jumps up and he starts dancing with me, starts kissing me, and yeah, just showing me all of this love and attention until his friend pulled him to the side and whispered something in his ear. And I knew what he was whispering. I knew what he was whispering. It was at that time that I decided to leave because I didn't know if the situation would escalate or become dangerous. So I tell my friends, and as I'm leaving, these men are like hurling these insults, and one of them runs towards me. I'll never forget this. I was almost out of the area. So one of them runs towards me, stands in front of me, and then grabs me. Like grabs Penelope. And I just remember how painful it was because he grabbed me and he pulled me. And I was like, what in the black Jesus is going on? So I think since that moment, I've understood that when a group of men are licking their lips, calling you sexy, doing all of that, I understood from that moment that things could escalate, things could go bad. And I mean, since that moment, I've had other incidences where I'd be walking and there'd be a group of construction workers and they would start catcalling. And of course, I mean, a lot of this stuff hasn't happened in years, but what I remember is that a lot of them, there would always be one who would clock me. And then the whole conversation would change. I mean, there was one incident where I had to basically start running because once I got clocked, the main guy who was doing the main catcalling became very aggressive and very angry. And we're in Africa, so I'm not out here trying to play those games. So I don't like catcalling. I find it demeaning. Oh, sorry, my battery's about to die. I find it demeaning, but I want you to know that you are more than just your body. So often as women, we are reduced to what we look like, what we can offer sexually, and how men value our bodies. And I want to tell you this now, that you are more than just your body. And you deserve more at your best to be seen by some dirty construction worker wanting to try and... No, we're not doing that in big 2020. I love you. This computer's about to die. I'll see you in the next one.